What's up, all my Power Addicts crew? Today we got a 2000 model TJ. You guys have seen the Jeep on the videos before. This Jeep's had a little bit of issues with brakes. Brakes season up, caliper locks in. There's a few different things that can cause that. Is that most of the time whenever you got a caliper that doesn't release, the brake line most of the time is your culprit. What happens on the inside, the brake lines, the soft lines, the rubber falls apart on the inside and it kind of acts like a check valve, and the fluid will go one direction but it won't allow it to come back. Oftentimes too as well is your brake fluids can make a big difference. If you use organic fluids that takes on water, it can cause your calipers on the inside to get little rust spots and your piston not move correctly. So use synthetic fluids when you can. So enough with that being said, if you guys, it's the first time you've hit Power Addicts YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because I do Jeep videos, car videos, motorcycle videos, and tool videos. So hit that subscribe button and learn something. Let's get on with this. After you get your tire taken off, well, first let's give a story of what's going on. Caliper sticking, pressure's on the brakes, the caliper's not releasing, so it's squeezing on the disc, and sometimes you got to put it in low 4 to make the Jeep even move. Soft line been replaced, and in order of, you come out of the master cylinder, the fluid comes through the hard line, through the soft line here, and into the caliper. More times than not, whenever you got brakes sticking, what you get is this soft line on the inside of them. They start coming apart on the inside, and you get these little flaps of rubber that kind of act like a check valve. Doesn't allow the fluid to travel back through the brake line. Well, got new soft lines, you can see right there. Next thing we got to do is change these calipers out. So let's get to work on them. You got two bolts to remove your caliper. You got one here and one right there, 13 millimeter. Your soft line, you got what you call a banjo bolt that's right here. It's a 9/16, or you can use a 14 millimeter. 14 millimeter is a little bit snug on it, but it works. So if you go ahead and pop your line loose here first while the caliper's on the spindle solid, it kind of makes life a little bit easier on you. So go ahead and break that loose with your 14 or your 9/16, and then we'll take these out here. And take your 14 millimeter socket or 9/16, push it that way, push it toward the front of the Jeep. When you get your banjo bolt pulled, be sure to be careful of that washer right here. You do need that because it helps seal the soft line to the caliper. Now in the very end of your line, if you look, there's a hole right there coming through from your soft line. That hole right there feeds into your banjo bolt. That goes through this hole here and feeds out the end here that pushes fluid into your caliper. Now where they come up with the name banjo, I have no earthly idea. Y'all can tell me if you want to. But a banjo bolt is when your fluid passes from here through there. So now that we've got the soft line loose, be sure not to lose your soft copper washer. Now we take these out, 13 millimeter. But notice on your brake shoes, they do come off a specific way. What you want to do is pry from the top and bring your caliper out this way. Because if you notice right here at the end of your pads, you got that notch. It kind of hinges on this right here. So get you a pry bar or a big heavy screwdriver here. If you pry it back this way, you'll wedge this out this way and it'll rock right off there. Then you may have a little bit of resistance because right here on the top you may have a little bit of a ridge on your disc. So just wedge that off and just roll it out this way. Go ahead and slide your disc off. Let's go ahead and check your front wheel bearing. You just say grab hold of it, which I can't do it because of holding one hand's holding the camera, but grab hold of it, kind of rock it up and down like right here, side to side, just zippers. You feel any play between here and this. I mean, if you move it like so, you may get some play because you move the whole spindle, but you want to look for the play between here, this mating surface where the disc goes on, and this area right here. If you get any type of play or it feels notchy, replace that bearing. Get in behind here, and what you want to do is hold the knuckle here as well as you can, and grab hold over here and rock it back and forth and see if you get any play in your universal joints here. And if you do, good time to change them out. Now, as far as the disc, we're looking at them here. We've got a little bit of surface screws, nothing too major. You can have them resurfaced if you want to. Take them to your auto parts store and they'll put them on the lathe and they'll resurface them for you, or you can buy new ones. But where the caliper locked up, a lot of times what happens is it makes the disc really hot and it'll warp them. But these discs right here, we've got no pulsing coming on the pedal, so the brake still feels smooth. It's just that the caliper keeps locking up. So got no scorch marks. no heat cracks or anything like that. So, you know, honestly, you can go ahead and roll with these calipers, no big deal. But again, some people want to be super picky and just go have them resurfaced or put new discs on. Totally your call, but we're going to run these. When you take your brake pads off, notice right here, it's got these little things sticking up here. They feed up through this right here, which prevents the pad from moving around inside the caliper. What you got to do is, for those of you who don't know, this spring right here holds it in place, but you got to push down and outward at the same time to unlock it to allow it to slide out. Then this pad right here, just simply hook your fingers on it, pull outward, rock it back and forth, boom, pops right out of there. There we go. Again, your call, but you can look at the pads have got plenty of meat left on them because you got good grooves right here. Some people use it, some people don't. Me personally, I like this stuff. When you put it on, which I'll show you here in just a moment how to put it on, this stuff right here, once it starts curing out, it forms a kind of a rubber insulator between your caliper and your pads, and it really quiets things down a lot. I've used this stuff on pads that were a new brake job that were squeaking. Just break it down, put this stuff on the surfaces of your brake pads, it quietens them right down. So what you do is, see here where the ring is, spread you just a thin layer of this where that ring would sit right here, or actually you could put it right here on the piston itself. That way you know you get the proper contact surface. But just put it on the piston around right here. Then you snap this one in place here, which I'll do in just a moment, but I just want to show you guys for now. Now as far as this pad here, what you want to do is this whole mating surface all the way through here and all the way through here, just put you a good thin layer on there. Then you snap this in place and it forms that rubber insulator and it prevents you from making a lot of chatter noises and squeaks. Good stuff, use it. Well, if your bottle's good, you should use this stuff. Apparently this whole bottle, it's been a while since I've done a brake job, has completely set up inside there, which is one of those jobs to where I can show you what it does. See right here, it's kind of got that rubber consistency. It's real soft, still pliable, sticky, which allows a pad, you know, to get a rubber insulator here. So that's kind of what it does, but even though my whole bottle's done set up, so I don't guess I'll be using that on this brake job. Now I told you earlier about watching for your washers, and this actually comes with it, so we're good to go on that. Before, okay, you snap your pads back in place, take these right here, they're greased for you because they're new calipers. Push them back because you want to get space for pushing both back, because right here it goes on the back sides right here as it bolts in. So you want to give it space for it to slide inside there and slide your pads in at the same time. As such. Goes in like that. You watch your pads at the bottom because you want to get that groove right there. And then, now you can see right there, if I can get my camera to see it, right there. Okay, I got to move that pad down a little bit right there because this wasn't hit on this. But you see what's going on. There we go. Get in there. Okay, see, we're riding high on this. We got to rock this back there. That sits down. And this one's doing it also. Long story short, put your notch in there so your pads slide in place here, but you gotta have both of them doing the same thing. Push that back so it clears this. Okay, now we solder bolts back in. So I've got them started. I'm gonna bring them in just enough to snug them. Then we're gonna work on our soft line. The new caliper comes with two of the copper washers. One goes on this side between the block here and the caliper, and this one goes between the nut and the soft line block. And so you position your, and if you look, see if I can get the camera to see it, right there. You see you got this little rise area right here that's been machined flat. What that allows that to happen is that your brake line, your block of your soft line, sets in there and prevents it from turning as you're tightening things up. So see, I'm actually not holding the soft line at all, and it's just riding on the banjo bolt, and it's actually holding it in place at this point. So just go ahead and run your banjo bolt in, tighten it up. You see, no toining, no toying. Sweet. When you put your brake line on, be sure to position it to where it's in the proper location. Don't be sure not to crowd your bleeder screw. Whenever you tighten up your bolts here, hit snug, put a little extra oomph behind it. And same with your banjo bolt. Don't get too crazy, tighten them up and twist anything in two, because that would be a bad thing and cause yourself a lot of work. And if you can find another banjo bolt, which I think they sell them in the help sections at your local auto parts. So also for you torque Nazis, I'll look up the specs, put them down below in the description, because some people aren't happy unless they know the exact torque specs on things. Honestly, people, I've been cranking wrenches before I could drive. Actually, I was driving before I was legal to drive. Well, honestly, because of him, I was drag racing before I was legal to drive. So, anyway.
Well, I didn't hear no arguments.
No, I was having a blast. You kidding me? So therefore, I'll look at the specs, put them down below in the description, and that way you guys, if you really got to know the torque specs. So on with putting fluid in the master cylinder. When you put your new brake fluid in, it's actually a good idea to go ahead and bleed the whole system, especially when you got one like what's going on with this rig here, we keep having the calipers lock up. Some people have never heard of it, but it's a fact. If you don't periodically change out your brake fluid, and I say periodically, I mean we're talking like a wide span of like 5 years or so, because it's a case of regular organic fluids will actually take on water throughout the time, which will rust your brake lines from the inside out. So synthetics do not take on water as readily as your organic fluids. So whenever you can, put your synthetic in. And if you think you've got organic fluids in it right now, go ahead and put synthetic in your master cylinder, and 2 people bleed. And what you want to do is bleed your brakes, fill the master cylinder up, bleed your passenger rear first, because that's your longest stretch between your master cylinder to that rear wheel cylinder. Once you get that whole system right there, that's your trunk line running down the frame, then up to your soft line in the rear diff, then coming over to here. Then you jump to the other side, because why? This is your furthest from the master cylinder. That one is the next furthest, or next closest, however you want to look at it. Then you bleed driver's side rear, then you bleed passenger side front, then driver's side front. By doing that, you're systematically taking the most of the fluid out at one time by coming here, then over there, then here, and there. That's how you should properly bleed your brakes and run good synthetic brake fluid to help prevent water from building up inside your brake fluid system. Cool, sweet. Let's look at another very important difference between organic fluids versus synthetics. Organic fluid, look right here, minimum wet boiling point of 284 degrees. Synthetic, minimum wet boiling point 311. What does that mean to you? Well, even look here, the high point up to 480 degrees reduces the risk of fluid evaporation and possible brake failure. So what does that even mean? Look at it this way. If you're going downhill, and let's just say, you know, some people pull with Jeeps, some people don't, but regardless, just take the Jeeps out of the equation. It's like any vehicle, truck, car, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're going down a long downhill grade and you're having to stay on your brakes a lot because it's a steep hill or it's coming off the top of a mountain or something, like for us, you know, if you run a little bit south of where I live, we got Mount Eagle Mountain. It is a long downhill run. So you need your brakes to be absolutely reliable, okay? So if you've got cheap fluids in it, there's always the possibility of your fluids boiling over, then you get brake fade. Brake fade equals you got problems. So if you got a good quality fluid inside your system, you got less chance for boil over. First things first, let's top off that master cylinder and we're gonna start bleeding the brakes. So we're gonna start bleeding the brakes right now. Got my dad in there pumping the pedal. You guys are gonna be able to see the kind of the system we use to bleed the brakes. We pulled both calipers. Wayne was actually doing the other side and I was videoing this side. There wasn't no point in video on both sides. But right now he's got pressure on the pedal. Got a ton of air in this thing. So he's got pressure on the pedal. I'm gonna back off of it a little bit. You got anything yet?
Oh, I'm just still holding them forward.
Alright, pump it up.
It's getting a little stiffer.
Alright.
Okay, do it.
Okay, he's got finally started to get a little bit of pedal. To bleed these brakes, you got to have so much air in them. You really got to pump that pedal a lot before you actually get any pedal out of it. So now I'm going to crack the bleeder screw a little bit. And right there you can see some fluid coming out. You got floor yet?
It's been the floor.
Okay. Okay, I lock the bleeder screw back in place and tell him to pump the brakes. Pump it up. There we go. We're getting pedal. Okay, what he's doing now after he pumps it up, he's holding the brake pedal in place and holding it down until I crack the bleeder screw. He'll feel the brake pedal drop down because I got fluid coming out right here now, and his brake pedal will be dropping down while I'm doing this.
Okay.
You see, he told me okay, which means his brake pedal is on the floor. Now I lock the bleeder screw back in place. Pump it up.
You're gonna have to cross back over that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And notice we're on the passenger side, the one furthest from the master cylinder. Now he's holding it. See a big air bubble pop out.
Okay.
Okay, he's on the floor, so now I'll lock the bleeder screw back in place. Pump it up.
Okay.
Okay, he's holding the pedal. And wrench slipped off. I cracked the bleeder screw open. And we got more air. Look at that air popping out of there.
Okay.
Okay, he does not turn loose of the pedal until I tell him to, because I gotta lock the bleeder screw back in place. If I don't, if you tell him to pick the pedal up before you lock the bleeder screw in, he'll suck air back in the system. All right, so now he's gonna start pumping it up because I've got this locked in place.
Okay.
Okay, he's holding the pedal again. He will not turn it loose till I tell him to.
Okay.
And he's on the pedal. I'll lock the bleeder screw back in place again. Pump it up.
Okay.
Okay, he's holding it. I'll crack the bleeder screw open. Okay, I'm not getting any more air. Okay, I'm not getting air out of this one anymore, so we're going to jump to the other side. Now, Wayne's already topped off the fluids, but what you want to be careful of, when you drain that much fluid out of your brake system, your master cylinder will drop fluid quickly. And what could happen if you don't pay attention to it as you're bleeding your brakes, you'll get more air in the system and end up having to bleed everything front to rear. So he's already topped it off, and we're going to go back down to the driver's side. Go ahead.
That's still up there.
Yeah, it's still up.
We use that much.
I don't doubt it, because we pulled all those calipers and the lines and everything. Pop that back in place. Okay, pump it up.
Okay.
Okay, we're on the driver's side now. We've got, golly, the air. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, he's on the floor. I lock it back in place. Pump it up.
Oh. Okay.
And pop it loose again. See how much air we get. Yeah, look at the big air shooting out there.
Okay.
That air shooting out. Lock the bleeder screw back in place. Pump it up.
Okay.
Now to reiterate, he does not turn loose of the brake pedal until I lock his back in place.
Check it. I got to take a little bit of it out. It's pushing up too hard.
See the air popping out there?
Okay.
And now his brake pedal's on the floor, but look, the bleeder screw's still open. He does not turn loose the pedal until I do that. I lock it back in place. All right, pump it up.
Okay.
That air shooting out there. You see his pedal's on the floor. Lock it back in place. Pump it up.
Okay.
And see, he's getting it quick now because the pedal's building up.
Okay.
Lock it back in place. Pump it up.
Okay.
And see, we got quick pedal. That's good. Got a little bit of air coming out right there.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to check the fluid real quick, because we bled quite a bit out of it. And he's topping it off. It's needing a little bit.
Can I do that?
Yeah, it's hot.
It was half empty.
Was it? Losing that fluid quick. Pump it up.
Okay.
Alright. And crack the bleeder screw. So you got a little bit more air coming out right there. Lock the screw back down. Pump it.
Okay.
And we'll see if we got any more air. We're about done.
Okay.
Got no air that time. Okay, pump it up.
Okay. Okay.
No air again. Okay. Alright. I'll show you guys something real quick. Look real close. Right there if you guys want to see how things are working.
Got it.
Yeah, just, okay, pump it up. Watch right there. See real close to see the caliper moving? That's that piston working back and forth, squeezing your disc. That's how she rolls. Alright, we're good. Now when you tighten down your bleeder screw, you tighten it up, you feel it bottom out, and just give it a slight little bump. You do not want that tight. Because if later on, if you have to bleed your brakes and you got that thing locked in, I've had them rip in half before. I've had them twist the flat spots off of them. They're just a total pain. So you feel it stop, give it a little bump, you're good to go. Let's put the wheels back on and wrap this baby up. Did you guys learn a little something from that video? If you did, hit me that thumbs up down below. Now remember, brakes can be a complicated system, so be sure to take care of them. Use proper fluids. Make sure your fluids are topped off, and make sure if you've got an old vehicle to change out the fluids, because it can really make a huge difference on what goes on inside your hard lines and your soft lines. Remember, it's easy and it's fun to go fast, but stopping is, hey, it's important. You got to do it. So everyone, if you enjoyed that video, hit me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, leave me some cool comments down below, and everyone, appreciate you hanging out with me. Peace out. Later, y'all.